Enjoy this week's re-release of Weekend at Bernie's 2. Next sequel will be Critters 3, and we got a great interview lined up. Not going to mention a name, just in case it falls through. Now to Steve James and comedic zombie flick. We are back, and this is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching, and the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. I am so excited to talk about this week's movie because, you know, it's just Memorial Day weekend with everything going on. You can't go out, but this could provide a little bit of an escape, you know, on the island, living it up. But before we dive in, which they dove a lot in this movie, I have to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Doug. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I watched this movie and it just brought me back. 1993, I was 7 years old, just loving every minute of this.
Yeah, it's a good movie to watch when you're 7 years old. I don't know. When you get to my age, this movie kind of looks a little different. So I definitely have a different take on the movie today.
And that's what we welcome, different takes. But before we start, we have a guest this week. You might remember her from Karate Kid 3. Well, when we discovered or rediscovered the legendary Terry Silver. That guy just made that movie awesome. And it's Gina. Gina, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
I'm happy to be back. Thanks for having me back.
Time flies, right? That was 7 months ago that episode came out. That's crazy.
And Gina, you were one of the more popular guests.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, and that episode was the best because Karate Kid 3 was just absolutely mind-blowing. And I think this movie is mind-blowing as well. So why wait if you're watching that video, because we're doing this video as well. Sunglasses on, I got some zinc on my nose, and I have a mojito because that's the life of Larry and Richard. That's what they do. Well, Larry more than Richard. But let's start. Jamie, what'd you think at the beginning? Didn't it remind you of Pink Panther movies?
It did, and honestly, I almost would probably prefer to watch a cartoon version of Weekend at Bernie's than the actual movie itself.
Oh, well, that's a good idea too. Maybe somebody's listening; they can get that going.
Because the cartoon, it was pretty good. You don't see that too often in credits. Usually the movie jumps right in there, and it starts off with a little Pink Panther-ish kind of cartoon credits, and I enjoyed it.
That's good, Gina. What did you think about a cartoon intro, getting you all prepped?
It initially reminded me of the opening of Grease.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And then I actually wrote in my notes, I'm already concerned by the intro. Because I didn't know where it was going. I wasn't sure what the point of it was. I thought, is this going to like sort of pick up from the last movie and then lead us into the next one? But no, it was just a dead body. Like fall off the train.
So you didn't know the plot at all? Like you didn't know the plot of this one?
I did not. I came into this not knowing anything.
Well, most likely, if you saw the first one, then you know he's dead in the second one. I don't think there's anything. But a couple of things I picked up from the credits. I don't know if you saw it. The costume designer's name was like Prince. It was one word. It was Dior. So I don't know. I didn't get a chance to look up the credits of Dior, but probably some fantastic stuff. And Michael Bolton, production designer.
Saw that too.
Well, you think there's only one Michael Bolton out there?
Yeah, there's only one Michael. Yeah, he could do it all. Why can't he do that too?
Didn't you see Office Space?
I did.
In an Office Space.
What, Michael Bolton was in Office Space?
No, but one of the characters' names is Michael Bolton, and he hates that everyone compares him to the real Michael Bolton. It's Michael Bolton, right? I hope I'm not missing.
Wait, you never saw Office Space?
I have. I don't remember Michael Bolton, but
that's like a big part of the movie. But yeah, so anyway,
that's okay.
This movie starts in the morgue.
Hold on. Before you go any further, so you mentioned the what was the first, the jour, like the clothing or the costume designer?
Yeah.
I have a question about the costumes in this movie. Now, this movie takes place in 1993, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I was in college, 93, kind of like a grunge era. They were dressed very 80-ish in this movie.
Well, it's supposed to take place in 89. It's the next year. It's the next day. It's a continuation.
Oh, all right.
It just took 4 years to continue it.
I got you.
I wonder. I'm confused why it took 4 years, but
But no, so it starts right in the morgue. The guy that was like the morgue manager, he looks so familiar. He looked like somebody, but I looked him up, nothing.
Now, I've never been to a morgue before, but do they normally let you see the body and then ask if you're related first after?
No.
Because, I mean, like, they didn't know who these people were. They're just looking at any body. And then later on, they're like, all right, how are you related? Like, I would think it would be the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, did they bring the body to the morgue?
Yeah, that was something I forgot about the end of the first one. I felt like it just ended.
But I watched the ending on YouTube. So an ambulance took it, I think, or it was like, they picked them up because what happened was they were on the beach. They were like enjoying it. And all of a sudden, Bernie rolled out of the ambulance and sat right between them again.
Right.
The best. That
made me think that they had to transport Bernie to the morgue. But I don't know if that's...
And why would they transport him to the morgue in New York City and not the one that was in the Hamptons?
And wouldn't that raise a lot of questions?
Yeah. But
I mean,
here's one thing that blows my mind. He has a lot of money, Bernie Lomax. So I'm sure he had some family that was around. But these guys are the ones that identify the body?
Well, it was his Uncle Bernie.
How crazy is it?
Maybe he didn't have family. Maybe he was very lonely, and that's why he had all those big parties so he could surround himself with people. Maybe deep down he really didn't have real friends or family. I don't know.
That's deep.
So this is a sad story then. Right? The poor guy doesn't have any friends or family, and then he dies.
Yes.
But he has Larry in this movie, Andrew McCarthy, New Jersey's own Andrew McCarthy. Unbelievable how just crazy he is. The things he does in this movie, when you think about it, they're both psychos.
Well, he's definitely creepy and psycho later on. But was he this crazy in the first movie? I don't remember. Like he was I feel like he was just like high on caffeine the entire movie. Like he just was not stopping.
Well, cocaine. I wouldn't say caffeine, but I'm sure he was.
Yeah, but this is a PG movie, right?
Was it PG?
Outside of two boobs, I think it was, which was basically 80s boobs. I mean, they had to do a quick boob shot, but I mean, I would assume it's PG, right? I mean, why would it be R? Really wasn't.
Well, there's another one there's PG-13.
Yeah, but this is the 80s. Did they really have PG-13
Well,
back
it's
then?
1993.
Yeah, but it takes place after. Who knows?
I don't know. I vote PG-13 for the boobs. Even though they were covered up very quickly, they're still...
Clash of the Titans in the 80s had boobs in the beginning, and that was PG.
But that was the 80s. This is 93. Things changed.
Boobs were obligatory in 80s movies. In 93, I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll have to look that one up later.
So one great thing at the morgue was, remember when the guy came in and he's like, I just got back from that barbecue. He's like, oh, how many did you get? And he goes, 3.5.
So he wasn't talking about lunch.
So there's a barbecue explosion, and they're talking about it like it's like the guy just went fishing.
Yeah. That was a little weird.
So this is the part that makes no sense. Again, this is like the next day. There's a time issue in this movie.
This is the part that doesn't make sense?
Yeah, this part doesn't make sense.
Wait, so the fact that there's a dead body that doesn't decompose whatsoever, that's okay. But the part you're going to mention right now is the one part that doesn't make sense.
Correct. Well, it takes time for a body to decompose. That's why this movie, that's why they had to do it the next day. It's really only been, if you think about by the end of this movie, it's somehow they squeezed it in. It's only like 3 days.
Yeah, but wait, but wasn't that like a summer they had in part one? Like how long was part one?
Wasn't it a summer?
It's only one day. Like Bernie gets killed, and then the next day is when everything happens, and then they take.
So all that partying in the first movie, that was all one day?
That was the night because he got killed just before they got there. Okay. Then the next day is when Larry sets him up with the Monopoly, and then that.
I was thinking it was like a whole summer. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so I just thought it was the whole summer. You just hung out with them the whole summer.
That'd be awesome.
All right.
But no, so that's why body will decompose, and it does smell. They mention it. It does smell in this movie.
Yeah, but they only mentioned it after he was stuffed in a suitcase. Like they didn't mention any smell the entire time until then. So I just think he was just sweaty from the airplane ride.
So how could they know they were going to get a raise? it was something they thought of, or they thought the company was going to give them?
Well, because they realized what Bernie was doing, so they figured like they're the heroes, so of course they're going to get a raise. That was their mindset.
So one of the gems in this movie, and I almost interviewed him before Troy, which I hounded her for the interview, and she even says it in the interview that came out last week. And Barry Bostwick, oh my God, dude, how amazing is he in this movie? I would love to see that camera roll, because it was just so great how he's just like snap, 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 snap.
First of all, he reminded me of John Larroquette.
Yeah.
So I was calling him like the non-John Larroquette. So he looked just like him. Was he the one from Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah.
He was the blonde guy, like the guy. I can't believe it. Okay.
With Susan Sarandon, right?
Yeah.
And he was in Spin City. He was the mayor in Spin City.
I never watched that.
Yeah, it was only on for like 120 episodes.
Well, considering only 1 out of 3 people seen it right now on the podcast,
it's a pretty good show.
Okay.
So anyway, so they go there. They think they're going to get a raise. Barry Bostwick, Hummel, which I don't know why they named him Hummel, he basically says, well, you guys are fired because you knew about the error, and why would you go hang out with Bernie? So the whole time he's thinking they're in cahoots with him, and it was basically a deal that they had worked out. And then they get canned. So this is where the timeline. So that night, Larry calls him, says, meet me at this restaurant. It's supposed to be the most expensive restaurant in the city. And then Jonathan Silverman, he goes, oh, come on, I can't do this. I have 3 interviews tomorrow. How the fuck did he get 3 interviews in hours?
He also showed up to a restaurant in his pajamas. Now, Larry said, let's meet. All right, regardless, he's going in to meet him. He wasn't happy about it, but you don't get dressed. He's wearing a robe and pajamas.
I also thought that Larry was wearing pajamas, and then I realized he was wearing the classic 90s collarless shirt.
Yes.
And I was really excited about that.
Yes.
Well, I think Larry's clothes in the whole movie could be like looked at as pajamas.
Oh, I want his wardrobe. I wanted to get one of those shirts here today because he is so great in this movie and just so psychotic. The first movie, he takes the Rolex. Like the next day after he's dead, while they're playing Monopoly, he takes it off. In this one, he's using all of his credit cards. And I love how he's throwing his weight around with Bernie's money. He's like, I'm Bernie Lomax. Here, and make sure you leave yourself a nice tip. Throughout the whole movie. Even the one time, you don't want to cause suspicion, right? Why, when they get to the island, why the first thing he does is walk up to a stranger, guy that doesn't even work there, and says, hi, I'm Bernie Lomax. I'm going to be here for the few days. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't think I think he acts before he thinks throughout the whole movie. So, but I can tell you, he's pretty genius because he came up with a lot of crazy ideas. Yeah. And they all pretty much worked.
So how'd you guys like when they cut to the islands and we see a ritual of people dancing, like Temple of Doomish, I guess?
I forgot about that in the movie. And
I love it.
And that's when I saw that, I'm like, all right, now I remember why I didn't like the movie the first time.
Oh, come on, dude. Those guys are so funny. Did you realize who one of those guys was, right?
Well, I know the one guy is from I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker and American Ninja.
Yep.
The big guy. And the other guy looks very familiar too, and I couldn't figure out.
Seinfeld, he worked with Costanza at the Yankees.
Yes.
He was like 3 or 4 episodes. But dude, I saw that, and dude, they had, again, I know you didn't like that part of the movie. I don't think it was great, but it's the only way you could really continue the storyline. And God, I loved every second of it because they were so funny with some of those lines. Like the one guy, we'll get into a lot of them, but just the way when they get taken over by this woman. And what was her name? They call her Oprah.
But she was like Moomba or something like that?
It's Mobu. I wrote it down several times. Mobu. M-O-B-U, Mobu.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think those 2 guys were as dumb as Larry and
Richard,
Silver. Yeah, Richard, without a doubt. And their wardrobe was on par with Larry.
I loved it. They were pimps. They were dressed like straight up pimps. I loved it.
But they weren't trying to be like, like they were doing a lot of like shady stuff, robbing and the bodies and all that stuff. They wore the brightest clothes throughout the whole movie. Like they were not inconspicuous at all,
I was kind of hoping that the movie would be about them. Like now all of the shenanigans are being passed off to these two guys instead. But then they lost Bernie and they end up in jail.
Well, they lost Bernie a few times.
Well, a few times. That one time in the subway, and I was like, "Come on!"
Oh God, that was so great, and I love that they found him, and the cops find him. His suit's gone, and he has like spray paint on his chest. I couldn't read it. Well, and he gets brought back, and the guy, the morgue manager, I don't know how you get that job. He just seemed like he was manager. He had no idea what else was going on. He was just there to count the bodies, but he was like freaking out. He's like, that guy was already here. And then he fell asleep in the morgue.
Well, what else is there to do there? You can't talk to anybody.
Well, maybe Bernie.
Well, now Bernie's been dead now for a long time, and he went to the morgue. They still keep the sunglasses on him? Those sunglasses did not come off him once.
Maybe they're stapled on his head.
It saves him the effort of having to close his eyes.
Gotcha. And the smirk that stays the same the whole time? Like, imagine being that actor. He doesn't say any words, but he's got to hold that smirk the entire movie.
I say that's the greatest of any acting, that you don't see him breathe. Dude, he's good at what he does.
Oh, he's very good at what he does. Now, let me ask you this. If he was never in another movie, right, and this was his first movie, and somehow he's already dead, does he make SAG?
Oh, he makes SAG.
Well, he doesn't speak, though.
He spoke in the first one.
No, but I'm saying it's like a role like this. He's the star of this whole movie. Let's say there wasn't a first one. He's just dead off the bat, and he's playing a dead guy.
He makes SAG because he's on screen for X amount of minutes.
I thought you had to speak on SAG.
No, you don't have to speak. You just said a guy that gets shown in the background makes SAG. That's not how it works.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. You were talking about Wile E. Coyote as a cartoon character makes SAG. I said, no, it's not.
Yeah, but he's not in the background. He's a main star. I'm just saying that Bernie doesn't say one word except smirk the whole time. I don't know if smirk can get you into SAG.
Well, it should. I think he should have nominated. I think he should have nominated for maybe an Oscar. His performance in this movie is so good. It's really funny, and he doesn't even say a word.
He's very good. He's very good at what he does. And we tried to get him on this podcast.
Yeah,
we did try.
That was so close.
Yeah, we almost had him.
Maybe one day. So Larry finds he's going through all Bernie's stuff, and he finds the safety deposit box key. So then they just happen to go back at the right time when Bernie's body is back there, and then that's when they think he convinces Richard, hey, you know what? You're going to live with your parents forever, which is so funny that Richard lives with his parents. I love that in the first one. But they stuff him in the suitcase, and Barry Bostwick's following him. And how the hell did they even get that on the plane?
I would think it would be a lot heavier than it was. Not to mention, like, doesn't extra pounds give you, more money? Like that probably had to be an expensive ticket.
Oh, of course. And just the fact, obviously it's like pre 9/11. So they were checking things like that. That's when people like George Young and Blow, you could like just get this stuff on the airplane. Nobody checks it. But dude, for a body, and I love the running joke because when the guy says, oh, what do you got, like a body in here? He's like, no. And then later when the
Larry,
Larry oh, see, you laughed.
No, you know what? The one scene I actually did laugh is when he fought the big guy and he turned around and slapped him in the face. That's the only part I laughed at, I think. Like out loud.
Oh.
Yeah. But all right, we'll get there. That part got a little creepy.
So I was talking about the timeline before. The timeline definitely got screwed up we saw the two guys in Jamaica, or not in Jamaica, the Virgin Islands, right? And then within an instant, they're in New York, which was pretty quick. And then they were about to go see the body. The body wasn't there. Oh, yeah, no, they did take the body, subway, then it went back. But those guys were so quick. The timeline from them on the islands at the ritual with Moomba.
Wait, so okay. So back to those guys. They just showed up to that voodoo ceremony. What were they there for in the first place? Like they didn't explain that. Like because I was kind of confused. Like what's their role in the movie outside of before they had to go get Bernie? Like why were they there? Like they showed up to a party. It looked like they were just dancing at the voodoo party, right?
They were just hanging out. They were scoping the scene.
So they were at the wrong place at the wrong time, kind of thing.
Yeah. You know, we skipped over like the most important plot line of this whole movie. So before he goes onto the subway, they do the ritual to try to get it moving, which is the best part of the whole thing. I love that they had to light 117 candles. They needed a chicken and goat urine. And I love that the chicken somehow left.
Can we also point out that they chose to do this in the bathroom of a porn theater?
I know that was.
I was gonna say we missed that whole porn scene. You know,
I wonder if that was like part of their list. Like it has to be in the bathroom of a porn theater, or it won't work.
Let me ask you this: so when they lost the chicken, would you crawl on the floor of a porn theater
and eat the popcorn on the floor while looking for the chicken?
Well, these guys are kind of weird. I mean, they're also two men in the bathroom. They started dancing when they heard music. They couldn't control themselves before Bernie started dancing. There's like, I mean, these guys are very weird. I didn't, again, I don't understand what their whole thing is, but yeah, they might have been dumber than Larry.
How did they, first of all, like they did it in the back of a porn theater. A, have they been there before? B, did they frequent that place so much that they knew the manager that well? And they gave him almost like a look. And he was like, okay, go back there. And then who was the guy that was trying to go in there? And then they're like, and that guy was like not questioning that there was this like dead guy sitting on a toilet.
Well, considering that this is a porn theater that has a guy with a chicken in his lap watching porn. So I'm not sure. Like, I think like anything goes. So whether you bring a dead body in there or you have a chicken, it really doesn't make a difference.
Hey, this is the chicken they lost. Like
no, the guy said this is my chicken
because he said no. This is my right. This is my chicken. So,
but I thought he just found it. Was like, no, it's my chicken now, and they were like, oh, okay, because everyone brings a chicken to a porn theater.
You know what though? That guy looks like he would bring a chicken.
Fair,
dead or alive.
A guy that like came again. This is New York City, and this guy looks like he came from like the country just to check out that porn theater and bring his chicken, bring his date.
Now, I've never been to a porn theater. Doug, I'm sure you've frequented many times, but I've never been to one. But they were all like watching the movie like they were watching Saving Private Ryan. Like they were all very serious. Like, like I'm assuming you're going to a porn theater for one thing, to watch porn.
To watch the acting.
Yeah, to watch acting. But they would look very serious. Like, I mean, I don't know. Chickens and being serious at a porn theater, I would never put two together.
And also, I laughed a lot of this movie. Obviously, I'm on board with this. How about when they're looking for the chicken and he's like, we can't get a cooked chicken. They're staring at the cooked chicken in the window, and then the guy's head turned and he looks at the pigeon, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I love that they didn't like mention it later. They just said like, this is probably why. But it'd been great if Mubu, if she would, is that her name?
It's Mobu.
So I wonder if it would have been great if Mobu was like, oh, if you use a pigeon, this will happen. But it was funny that happened. Use the pigeon. And dude, when the music starts and they start dancing, like you said, and when Bernie starts dancing, dude.
He invented twerking.
Oh, yes.
He twerks throughout the whole movie. So he invented twerking. The scene with the pigeon reminded me of Young Frankenstein. When he brought the wrong brain, and that's what happened. Abby Normal. This is what happened. He brought the wrong chicken, and instead of being alive, he just twerks the whole movie.
I want to talk to Terry Kaiser because I have to ask him because it was like a choreographed dance because he does it throughout the movie. He goes like left, right, and then he cocks his head back, and then like just like struts around.
Did you know that this started a craze? I looked this up and I found out that there is a song that is called Moving Like Bernie. Yeah. Actually very catchy. And there are all these videos on YouTube of people like walking through New York and grocery stores and
like moving like Bernie.
Yep. And Weekend at Bernie's too. And it's amazing. And I kind of want to learn. I want to learn it.
Oh, you know what?
I want to be a part of it.
Well, he kind of moves like a zombie. Like he has the zombie kind of movement to him.
So Walking Dead quality.
Yes. So he might have invented twerking and zombie kind of thing.
And when they turn the music off and he falls face down and you just hear that thud and they start the music again and just his ass is jiggling and he gets back up in the position. They do it again. He falls again. Dude, that is just such a funny running like gag in this whole movie.
See, I think the opposite. I think it was funny the first few times, but then when he keeps, I can't like, I don't know. I was hoping for the other dance moves.
Oh, you?
But he's dead.
Well,
people can do.
Is he dead? I mean, the guy's he seems more alive. First of all, he gets more action than the other two guys.
Oh, and there's a huge reveal at the end of this movie that like blew my mind. But we'll get into it.
We'll get to that.
But I do think that he seems to do better than Rich and whatever the guy's name. What's his name? Harry? Larry? Yeah, I feel like he gets more action than both of those guys.
So two things I wrote down when the one guy saw the pigeon, he said cock-a-doodle-doo, and the fact that they were singing James Brown was the best because they were saying get up, get on up, and they weren't even looking at, like you said, they were caring more about the music, getting their groove on than this guy, and they weren't surprised by it. Even if somebody said like, hey, you know what, do this, even Victor Frankenstein was kind of shocked when it happened. These guys, this is normal.
Well, I mean, their whole purpose was to bring back to life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, they weren't the smartest guys.
So, do you remember what did the outfit that they put Bernie in remind you of?
What, the track? It
reminded me of it was Wesley Snipes' wardrobe from White Man Can't Jump.
When did that movie come out?
Probably right around this time, maybe a couple of years after. So they probably used it. Maybe they're like, we need something. And they just like switched it around. But God, I love that. Dude, and then when they finally get there and they have the suitcase, they get off the airplane and you hear the steel drum music. And I love that the suitcase is banging. You just see like, dude, he's in this movie so much. Honestly, when...
Bernie?
Bernie. Yeah, when is it not Terry Kaiser?
Well, it is called Weekend at Bernie's.
No, I'm talking about like the body double. There's only like one time ever that it did not look like it was a real actor.
When he's parasailing by his foot. That part? Is that the one?
And the rickshaw, when he's leading the rickshaw.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good.
Now, isn't he bald in the first movie?
Well, he is bald. They stapled it to his head.
Oh, it was staple. Okay, I was questioning that because I figured, when he was being dragged in the ocean, I figured his hair would have flew off at that point.
Yeah. Gina, I sent after I watched this, and I was so floored about how great this movie was. I was watching all these things on YouTube, and one of them was an Andrew McCarthy interview from like 2 years ago. He talked about this movie, and he was saying, well, the first one, so I'm sure this one had some of the same qualities. They like wrote it while they were going. Like there was a script, but Andrew McCarthy was like, wouldn't it be funny if he had a toupee and I stapled it on his head? And they're like, oh, that's funny. Do that. So I'm sure there's a lot of gags in this movie that seem that they might be that way, especially with some of his reactions. But one thing that was mind blowing to me was how was that villa? This is 1993 or well, it's kind of 90, I guess, but
now we're in the 90s. All this time, you're telling me it takes in the 80s.
89. But how is that villa $600 a day? It looks so shitty. It was tiny.
I didn't look at it that way.
You would think Bernie would have with all the money that
maybe it was all inclusive.
Oh, maybe it was. That's still a lot of money.
It is.
Yeah.
I would think they would have like a house. Like you had to think, what he had in the first one. Larry wants to throw around Bernie's money and be Bernie. Bernie wouldn't stay in that shithole.
Now, was that was the same island they were on the first movie? No,
they were in the Hamptons in the first movie.
Oh, I don't remember the first movie. maybe I never seen the first movie. I have too many questions with the first movie.
Yeah. So Richard is supposed to be the smart one, and he's really focused. He's laser focused on anything until women are involved.
I was going to say he's against everything that Larry wants to do. Everything. He's against everything until he sees a woman, and then how he forgets how he's against it.
I know. he's looking at the papers. He's like just staring at him. And Larry goes, look at the tits on this one. And he just like jumps up. And he's like, no, I guess we can walk around for a little bit.
Well, I have another question about him.
Yeah.
So when he first gets out and he jumps in the pool, right? He jumps in the pool like he's a 5-year-old,
Yes.
right? Like he can't. But somehow, not even an hour later, he's scuba diving in the ocean.
That's true.
I was just curious how that happens because he also, that jump in the pool that he did wiped him out so bad that he didn't realize people were creeping into his house that he fell asleep on this desk.
I know.
So I just
So we saw this really attractive woman. He does that fall into the pool, and then she's kind of embarrassed. And then for some reason, they cast a woman that looked like that in the conga line scene because I thought it was the same woman, but it wasn't. And I'm like, she was embarrassed that he couldn't swim earlier. Yeah, I guess there's a couple plot holes.
a couple. But the swimming one, yeah, only 2. Yeah.
But the physical comedy in this movie is pretty funny. Like the falling, the Larry jumping on the suitcase, and there's a lot of good stuff in this.
Well, I also noticed a lot of people in the conga line doing the Bernie. Like they were leaning back and have their arm. I've been in a few conga lines. I don't think I've ever seen, a Bernie dance move in the conga line. They all were doing it.
Was Bernie at the conga line that you were in? Because that's why they were doing it. They were seeing him do it. He was there.
So the person who leads the conga is the one that everybody has to dance like him?
Yeah, follow the leader, follow the leader.
I didn't know there's rules to the conga line.
Well, first rule of the conga line is you don't talk about the conga line. So then we see Troy Byer, who is pretty cool. She said they started this movie with another girl. They weren't gelling with Andrew and Jonathan Silverman. So then she came in 4 days later. And, man, she was so cool, man. She was in so much big stuff, like in that time period. I didn't watch Dynasty, but to be thrown in that role so young, and then her first thing ever, she was one of the first cast members on Sesame Street.
Hold on, you made a big deal about Spin City that was on forever. Wasn't Dynasty probably on just as long as Spin City?
I wasn't alive.
So?
It doesn't mean I have to watch it, but if it's on while I'm alive, most likely I've seen it.
Okay. All right.
You watch Dynasty, I guess.
Every day.
Okay.
Now, Joyce, I didn't recognize her name until we interviewed her, but when you look at her like IMDb, I knew a lot of things that she was in. I mean, she was awesome.
Yeah, she wrote Baps.
And she wrote it, you mean?
She wrote it for herself, but she didn't have the prowess. She showed it to Halle Berry, and Halle Berry wanted to get it made, so Halle Berry was pretty big at that point.
Yeah.
She threw her weight around and was able to do it.
You saw Baps?
Yeah, the movie's awesome.
Gina,
you ever saw Baps?
I
Never.
haven't seen it. Mm-mm.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's good.
Okay.
All right.
Very, very, very good. So Larry, he goes on a date with Claudia, and he did one of the creepiest things that anyone.
One of the creepiest things. This whole date was creepy. It made me uncomfortable.
Well, it definitely made me uncomfortable. And it's weird to see a movie like this, no love interest at all.
Well, first of all, how long she met Larry for what, 2 seconds before agreeing going on a date with him? Like she didn't know anything about him. He walked up to her, and then he's like, "Oh, let's have dinner." She's like, "All right." Like
he was shocked because again.
Well,
it's insane about him, but yeah, like the fact that he was like, "Really?" She's like, "What? You're surprised? You're surprised that I said yes?"
Yeah, but you know what though? The reveal at the end.
Oh, I know.
Makes sense of how he was at the date. One of the reveals.
Yeah, it just seems like that shouldn't.
But he
that was necessary.
No, meaning he was just very awkward. Like he was just trying too hard and awkward.
No.
So
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just feel like the reveal at the end, like I don't know why they had to put that in we can talk about that when we get to that.
Yeah.
They
had to change some stuff from the first movie to make that a thing for the second movie.
I was like, oh, that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the whole creepiness, like she wanted no part of him. She realized she got herself in a situation where this guy's a wacko. Like right away.
If I was her, I would have made sure that he stayed in the cab and just left.
Yeah.
She didn't even say to walk me into the door. And I love that he tells the guy, as soon as I get up the steps, here's 20, pull away.
I can issue. That's a pretty good move, though. That is if I'm not saying in a creepy way. I'm just saying, listen, if you want to hang out a little longer,
I guess if the person's remotely into you, then
That's what I mean.
That's
Yeah,
not creepy.
Well, I don't mean in a psychotic, stalking way. I just mean like, if you're dating someone, you're like,
I had a previous guest, my buddy Nick. I had him do that when we were partying at Rutgers. I said, just leave. And then the girl was like, oh, where's your buddy Nick? I was like, oh, he left me. Where am I going to stay? And then,
you got me nervous because you said it happened to you with your buddy Nick when he was at your house.
Yeah, but then you have to listen to the whole story.
Okay, well, just, all right.
I thought it was creepy.
It was very creepy.
Also, it's like voodoo in the Virgin Islands. Is it like a big thing there? Because she like has this voodoo shrine and she conveniently knows everything about it.
I know. I guess that was like they had to do something like that. Yeah. Maybe they should have said it. Obviously, the island is great because that's where people like stash money. But like New Orleans would have been a perfect setting for like the voodoo. But maybe it is a thing there. But her knowing the voodoo, her dad being like a voodoo, he was actually a voodoo doctor. Because she was talking about dad's into voodoo, and then later in the movie, he's an actual doctor.
Wouldn't you be creeped out also if you were Larry, though? In the same sense, you go in there and you realize she's had this whole shrine of voodoo stuff and everything, and
well, he was kind of insensitive. He was like really insensitive about it. He was like, "Oh yeah, voodoo."
But I don't think he was creeped out. I just think he was so oblivious. Like he just, he was thinking about one thing.
What was that, Jamie?
Yeah,
he was just thinking about,
Can you explain to me?
Yeah, I'll explain it later when the reveal comes out.
Okay.
So now we're on the conga line. So Jonathan Silverman falls asleep because he is so tired from his swim and from doing all the paperwork. And the music starts again. Probably music was playing before that, but it happened at that point. And Bernie breaks out. He does his little shuffle, the Bernie shuffle, and then he goes out to the conga line. Dude, I love the couple that was fighting. How great was that? He's like, I just want to eat. I just want to sit here and eat.
That was like, obviously he was trying to be like a Brooklyn Italian, like the way he would. It was horrible. Like they I think they could have found a better guy to be that like that toughy kind of, but how ridiculous. Like he was focused on food and she just wanted to party, and then she leaves him in 2 seconds.
For Bernie.
For a dead guy.
And then the fight on the beach, like you said, that was when Jamie laughed.
I did laugh.
He slapped him twice, and then he gets punched. She says a line that is like, was really troubling because she goes, why do you always have to hit everybody? So this has happened before, that he just pummels anybody that looks at her. What kind of life is that for her? I'd like to see their story.
Well, considering that all he did was dance with her on the conga line, and he punched him. Well, not for nothing, though. She did walk to the beach with Bertie. I mean, she is dating this guy or married. I mean, they don't explain that. And she goes on the beach, walks to the beach as your boyfriend and husband still sitting there. So what's her problem?
I don't know. You're blaming her?
No.
He's not showing her the respect.
I understand, but you're also on vacation together. Wait till you go home.
All right.
And she's doing the conga with Bernie. Isn't Bernie's body cold?
Yeah, probably.
Like it's probably like ice cold.
Well, if he's been reanimated, maybe
the blood flow.
Not. I mean, we've already like had to suspend our disbelief about what happens to a dead body at this point. Like, because how many days are we past his murder?
Probably like 3 days now.
Yeah, I mean, all sorts of weird stuff should have happened by now to his body.
He definitely should bruise. Okay, if he's not going to decompose, there should be some bruising. The big guy punched him twice.
Or break. Just collapse.
Yeah.
So here's another plot hole. This is another one I just thought of. So when Bernie hears the music, the voodoo is supposed to have him go to the treasure. Why does he not do that?
He tries to.
It'd be in that scene when they're on the beach.
If you watch the conga scene, what was her name? Brenda or something? The girl that was behind him. She's like actually positioning him to go to move with the conga. Because I was watching that and I was like, why is she turning him and showing him where to go? And then later on, when we realized that that's where his money is, where he was actually trying to walk towards the water. Yeah. So I think that's why he couldn't get there, because she like had her hands on him and she's moving him.
That makes sense.
almost like she knew he was dead and needed direction. I don't know.
Wait, who, Brenda?
Yeah, it was, and that's why I was like, does she know he's dead? But no, it's just
Maybe
my
she's
thought is not going anywhere right now.
maybe she always wanted to be with a dead guy. Let me know. People are into that stuff.
They woke up together on the beach, correct?
Yes. Yes,
Do you think anything happened?
Yeah.
I don't think so. You think? I don't know.
I mean, I was thinking maybe did she just passed out, and then just woke up the next morning. But I mean, Doug, if you think something different,
I think he had sex in the first one. So what? You don't remember that?
I remember that, but that was like the same night as he died.
Yeah.
So he was fresh.
A little bit.
Rigor
mortis set in. Things were stiffening up. I mean, who knows?
Oh, okay.
But at this point, I'm sorry. You can take that out.
No,
but Jamie, that's one of my favorite lines from that movie. She comes downstairs, the girl that goes upstairs with Bernie, and they're like, did everything go right upstairs? And she goes, never been better.
I remember. Okay.
You guys have any scotch?
Well, so that's my point earlier, that he gets way more action than the two other guys.
Well, that's a line that Andrew McCarthy says. He gets laid more dead than I do alive.
Yeah.
Well, now we find out. We'll reveal that later.
That's
right.
But no, so
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so those guys, the Voodoo guys, again, the timeline is just crazy how they're trying to like cram so much in, but they have to, so he's not like decaying. But the Voodoo guys just get out of prison in New York, which is kind of ridiculous because we touched on it a little bit. Larry and Richard, we didn't talk about it. Larry and Richard got arrested for trying to
trespass, and it's simple. We said we're going to do simple trespassing.
Yeah, and Hummel somehow gets them off so he can follow them, and the Voodoo guys don't get that same privilege, and they're in jail for like a whole other day. They get out,
and all they were doing is like what, like kind of like almost like wrestling in the subway.
Each other, I know. And then that's when the one guy started clucking like a chicken because he was talking bad about Mobu. And then he was like, blop, 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 blop. Oh, no, maybe a goat sounds. I think it was a goat sound.
Well, it was a goat sound. Now, did she mention goats in the beginning of the movie?
She did, yeah.
Okay. She said she didn't turn him to goats? Is that like...
Yeah.
So I missed that part. All right.
All right.
So then Richard and Larry, I thought that was a really funny scene. Because Richard is laying in bed, Larry stumbles home because he gets drunk by himself. And I don't know. That was so weird. It was really sad. But now we know why.
But it all makes sense, though. So, yeah. I mean, that totally makes sense. And you know what? You don't think about that until after the reveal.
But I love what he said to the bartender. Bartender's like, a bar's closed. I locked it up. He's like, don't you have a key? And then because for some reason, he stopped throwing around Bernie's money. He goes, here, buddy, how much do I owe you? And he's like, oh, it's on the house. And then he's like, here's a couple bucks. So I'm like, man, he's throwing around 20s to the bellhop. Nothing for the bartender.
No, that bartender was very nice.
Yeah, scram. He was like Oscar the Grouch as a person. But no, so when the reveal of the body not being there, Richard opens it up over and over again, and then Larry looks in there. And then when they find them on the beach.
Before that, you forget that he curled up in a ball. Was that the one when he curled up in a ball? He spooned Richard?
Well, he got close to him, yeah. I thought Richard was going to be with a girl. I thought it was going to be a girl that was with Richard that he was going to be spooning with. Nope.
I thought they only had one bed the whole time, and they were just sharing because they were just. I didn't understand what was going on.
$600 a night. They better get 2 beds.
Well, you said it was a small room anyway,
or a king size.
Yeah, king size.
Oh, I mean, their relationship seems kind of weird. I mean, they're friends who work together, so they're really like coworkers who became friends.
They're like brothers.
It might be more than that.
Whoa, really?
They do everything together.
That was actually like the one question that was hovering over me the whole movie was, why is Richard friends with Larry?
I don't know.
Larry just gets him into all sorts of trouble and like makes bad decisions for him all the time. And he's just like, oh, okay.
He does, but I think Richard leads a very simple, safe life. He lives at home. he jumps in a pool like a 5-year-old. Like he's like very simple. So I think Larry brings a lot of excitement to him. As much as he doesn't like it, I think he likes the excitement.
I think he does it to make himself feel better because he's like, man, this guy's a lot shittier than I am.
Like it made sense in the first movie because it was almost like Larry was like Richard's it, like you said, Jamie. Like he, like Larry got Richard to do fun things, things that he probably wouldn't do. But in the second one, I felt like Larry was just so annoying.
He was, but
annoying.
But there was $2 million on the line.
Yeah, that's true.
So which actually is a little bit more than $2 million.
Oh, spoiler.
I know it's not with twins, but we'll get to that.
So they find him and Brenda on the beach, and then they're like, oh, we have to get to the bank. So they go into the store. They're trying to find like the perfect outfit.
Before you even get there, just one line that she said, and I hope that her boyfriend wasn't around, because she says that Bernie was the greatest guy that she's ever met. Now, what is that? The guy's dead. So I feel bad for her. Imagine, like, if a dead guy's the greatest guy you've ever met, what kind of life has she had?
Maybe she just wants somebody that listens, Jamie.
Okay.
Her boyfriend just wants to eat. All he wants to do is eat, and Bernie actually listens to her.
He does. Well, she said he's kind of shy. He doesn't say much.
So the fact that these guys, Bernie is the most important person to them right now because they want to get that money. Why do they continue to leave him in the back of the Jeep?
I don't think are you talking about Larry and Richard?
Larry and Richard, yeah. They leave him when they go into the store to buy. They're trying to pick out the trench coat so they can like marionette, like puppeteer him inside the body. And they're actually trying it out on a mannequin in the store.
Yeah, but I don't think they're thinking anyone's stealing Bernie yet, right? So they haven't. The bad guys haven't come there yet. So who's going to steal a dead body?
I'm not saying steal, but just the fact you're going to leave a dead body in the back of your car. Maybe somebody walks up, they're like, "Hey, this guy's dead."
Well, considering that he still looks as alive as he was, before he died, I don't think they're really even thinking about that.
And that guy that's tailing them, what's his name? Hummel.
Hummel, yeah.
Like he's very inconspicuous with his earth tone clothing and his like camera shot. He's just so, they would have no idea that he's following him.
I know, he's pretty good.
There was nothing obvious about what he was doing.
Not even a flashlight right into 2 feet away, like flashing on his head.
He's just like sitting by the pool when like they first get there, and he's just like snap, 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 snap everything they do. And I'm like, how is no one noticing that this guy is taking pictures?
And not to mention, in between, he's always he's also snapping girls. So in between every snap,
right?
Yeah, like this. Like really quick. So I think Gina said it best. They're like both the same people, like Richard and Larry and the other two henchmen, the Voodoo henchmen, because they're all terrible. So the Voodoo henchmen happen to pull up. They see Bernie sitting in the back of the Jeep. They take him. Then Larry and Richard see them get Bernie get take. So they like do this like diving over the market and then block the road. And they're like, hey, move out of the way. And the guys like are driving at them. Then they pull Bernie out of the back.
Exact same time they knew to grab the heels.
I know. They planned that out, I guess. Somehow they're like, hey, if Bernie's ever in a car and it's going past us, to grab the heels, right? It's like, of course.
It was a great move, though.
But how do those other guys, this is the most important thing, so they don't get turned into goats. And they don't look in the back or the rearview mirror and they seem like they were driving for a while to get to the Voodoo Fortress, I guess we can call it that.
Having the fact there's a lot of people just standing around or walking around the village and no one says anything.
I know.
They take one body from one car, then they drag him out of the one, and then they drag him by his feet in the street.
So they make Bernie look like he has a toothache and he's wearing like a trench coat like he's a flasher. And the guy at the bank is probably the worst employee ever because Bernie's right arm was moving like a left.
Yes.
I hope that tooth feels better, Mr. Lomax. And then in there was just a map. It was like a torn piece of paper. It was a map, which honestly, the map didn't do shit for anything, right?
No.
And you know what? Did they even bring it up again? Because she gave it to the father, but it was never mentioned again, right?
Yeah.
After the father had it.
I think as they figured out that play the music and he's going to take you to it. But no, I thought there was going to be some kind of I thought the voodoo was going to help out there.
So really that map meant nothing in the movie.
Nothing at all. Another plot hole. Okay, 4. We're up to 4 or 5.
I have a theory because I know Doug. I'm stuck on that point that Doug mentioned earlier about for Weekend at Bernie's, the first one, where they had a script, but they were kind of adding stuff to it as they filmed. I have a theory that Weekend at Bernie's 2, they didn't have a script. They just were like, hey, let's make a sequel, and then just kind of let's let this happen. Maybe this will happen next. And they're like, let's have a map in the safety deposit box. And then we'll give it to this girl. We'll let her have this valuable map and never see it again. And we'll figure out what to do after that. That's my theory. There was no script.
You know what? After I watched this movie, I believe 100% there was no script.
But this movie did make money. The budget was 7. It made 12.
What did the first one make?
Right?
I don't know. I'm sure more than that, but that's still a good enough profit. In most circles, that's one that they would think about making another one, but obviously they didn't at that point. But so this is the henchman guys that really made me laugh. So they go to Mobu and she's pissed off because he's not there. So then they're getting ready to leave and there's goats blocking them. And the one guy says, "Ooh, man, that goat is sexy." And he's eyeing it up and down. I'm like, holy shit, dude. These guys are turning into goats.
Do you think Mobu is the witch doctor's wife? And Troy Bayer is the daughter?
Well, I think they saw each other at the end of the movie. Maybe it was divorced and they cut that out, but maybe?
I don't know. Just popped in my head.
If there had been a script, maybe they would have
then you could refer to it, but nope, not at all. So then again, they know that there's people looking for Bernie, Richard and Larry. So what do? They leave him in the back of the Jeep to go show Claudia, the map. They want to talk to her about the map. And again, Larry's nervous, so Richard goes up and Larry hides behind a tree, which is so kiddie. He wants to get all this money, but he won't talk to a girl that he had a bad date with. So then music starts playing and Bernie just starts dancing in the Jeep and he starts dancing out of it.
You know, I find that she didn't seem at all phased at all when they told her at all. She just went right along with it. The whole situation is a ridiculous situation. Between the dead body carrying around, there's $2 million, there's voodoo doctors. She was like, okay, I'll help you, whatever you need. She was not phased at all.
No, that is true. But maybe because voodoo, maybe her dad brings home, dead bodies ever so often and reanimates them. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess if you're dealing with voodoo, I guess not a lot's going to phase you.
Yeah, not much surprises you.
Yeah.
Dad, who's this dead body on the table? Oh, he's going to start dancing. Just put on some slow jams. We'll start moving.
We couldn't find a chicken, so we used a pigeon. That's what happened.
Well, let me ask you this: if he used a chicken, Bernie wouldn't be dancing.
I think he would just reanimate and walk.
So he'd be like a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That would probably have been pretty cool.
So I wonder what was why a pigeon makes him dance now? What?
I guess pigeons kind of do the same thing as chickens, but
they do that thing,
That is true. All right.
Yeah.
So then Richard and Larry get kidnapped and they have to meet Mobu. And then Mobu poisons Richard if they don't bring back the bat. They said by midnight, right?
I think so.
So that was weird because in the middle of the day, he was looking like he was going to be dead.
Well, again, I don't think he gets out much, except for Larry. He seems like a mama's boy. So I think he just, that was typical.
So then here's the Hummel part that we kind of mentioned before. So he's walking along the beach and he takes that little sneaky photo of girls in bikinis. And then Bernie is just kind of walking there. And then I love the woman that was, how did that woman have her boating license? Because she was so impatient to start the parasail. You need somebody on the parasail. She just like wanted to just.
Well, first, I don't even think she's probably like a vacationer who's like renting the boat. I would think though you would have a professional person on the boat with her that's deals with parasailing. Like there was no one there. It was just her and her husband.
Have you guys ever parasailed?
No, I want to. But Gina, you parasailed?
Oh, I have never. It does look like fun though.
It does, but I mean, they always have like an instructor on the boat with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Not at a place like this.
Parasail.
Again, $600 a night for that crappy room, and you think you can't have a parasail instructor there? But no, the fact that Bernie gets caught up in it, and then he grabs the bikinis, and Hummel gets caught, and this is the first of many times Hummel gets arrested. And then Bernie hits every palm tree on the way up. And then Jamie, this part of this movie was so amazing. When the fake shark.
Oh, Sharknado happens?
Dude, not even Sharknado. This was like Jaws Revenge bad.
It was ridiculous. It was the huge shark that just somehow was able to go up in the air like that. Like I couldn't.
The fact that they use like nature like stock footage of a shark in the water and then had that rubber abomination holding on to him and then just like falling off. Not like it did any damage to him. It just was holding on to his leg and then just like slipped off and then splashed in the water.
And it was huge.
And then what happens? Bernie lands right in front of Larry, Richard, and Claudia.
It's almost like he has a magnet towards them because even in the first movie and second movie, he's always somehow connected to them. Every time he's separated, he comes right back to them.
They always find him. Somehow they always find him.
You mentioned that this is where, what's his name? Hummel?
Hummel, yeah.
He starts getting, you notice that his hair keeps getting more wild every time he gets, every time he gets more like, thrown. He goes to jail, 3 times in the movie, I think. And going on, his hair keeps getting wilder and wilder. So by the end of the movie, his hair is like Bozo the Clown.
It's a metaphor.
It is. It forecasted a little bit.
Psychological state.
Oh, man. So then they figure out that the music is, I don't know who figured it out. Was it Larry that figured it out? Was it Claudia? That Bernie, when they play the music, he's going towards the treasure.
I think it was Claudia when he goes into the water. And then I think she's the one that says, "Oh, because he can't hear the music anymore."
But I think it was Larry that's mentioned. He's going to show us where the treasure is.
Right.
Larry's the one that. Larry, as dumb as he is, again, he comes up with a lot of good things.
Well, money's involved, so he knows what to do, and then he figures out how to keep the things onto his head. And then I love when,
by the way, I'm assuming Walkmans were not waterproof back then, so I don't know how he was able to have a Walkman, in the ocean still work.
All right, plot hole number 6. How about why does Larry have to bring a harpoon gun into the water?
Well, they are going scuba diving with him. What are the sharks there?
He needs it so that he can shoot Bernie in the head later.
I love that.
It's for the gas.
And create a rickshaw and basically have again that contraption he makes and he rides Bernie. He's pretty smart, Larry.
I love that. That was so good.
Okay, so him walking the ocean, that's a scene I remember. That's one of the main scenes I remember as a kid. I hated it.
Oh, come on.
I hated it.
I think it was so perfect because, Hummel goes to the hospital. And he's like, I thought I saw this guy. They send the death certificate. He's like, he's dead. Don't worry about it. Why don't you just go get some rest? So his idea, again, minutes later, because they were already planning on going scuba diving, he goes, you know what? It's really relaxing going into a can in the bottom of the ocean that could possibly leak.
Do they have submarine rides?
They do. I know they had them in Cancun. I was scared to go on them.
They did?
Yeah.
All right.
They're not big ones. They tiny submarines. But when he sees him, and I love that he almost didn't, and he just goes crazy. Did you guys know who the instructor was?
She looked familiar, and I couldn't.
Well, her looks, she's only been in a few things that you know her. She was on Orange is the New Black. But when I say what voice she did on a cartoon, you're going to know her. She was Patty Mayonnaise on my self-titled show that ridiculed my childhood, Doug. Yeah, that was her, and you could hear it. She didn't even change her voice. That's her voice. Like when she went in for the audition of Patty Mayonnaise, she just spoke because it's the same exact thing. But yeah, that was her.
Never seen it.
That's sad. But anyway, so no, that was so then he gets arrested from that, and then at the very same time, that's when Bernie finds the suitcase. He pulls it out, the treasure chest, and then I don't understand, why doesn't he let go? I know he has rigor mortis set in, the music stops playing, but he's just laying there not letting go of that. And it's upsetting Larry. Larry's getting so pissed. He almost looks like he has a look in his eyes like he would chop his fingers off.
Well, you would think, why wouldn't they at that point? Like, I mean, they don't need Bernie anymore. They got his money. He's been haunting them for 2 movies. Why not?
I thought it was a great opportunity to just leave Bernie in the water and then the safe or whatever that was and run away.
They got everything they needed from him, and he's been haunting them for 2 movies. Just cut his hands off and take the thing.
Yeah.
Just wipe your hands with this whole situation. So one thing that Troy told me was really funny about filming those scenes, when you're filming underwater scenes, you know, it's not like you're going to go up and reset. Like they said, they just hung down there in the oxygen tank, just like relaxing. And she said, like, the thing that was scary was the fire coral that was down there. If you like touched it, it was like excruciating pain. So she was saying some days it'd be like 4 or 5 hours of just shooting those underwater scenes. And she had to get her license within like days. And she was not a fan of swimming. So it was like this perfect storm, but I'm happy that she obviously said yes. But God, man, dude, that scene is so ridiculous. So then here's the question I have. So they have Bernie on the beach. They need to get him back because they're kind of like away from everybody. So they have like that big go-kart thing or the golf cart. Why the hell does everybody run?
They were dragging a dead body with a harpoon in his head.
No, but even before that, they were running because they said, my buddy's hurt. He needs to get to the city. You think they saw that from that far away and they all ran?
No, they did see. I think they didn't run right when he said that. They were still sitting there. It's when they saw him with you wouldn't run. You see a guy with a harpoon, they're dragging him by the harpoon.
I would just want to help him out and get him some Band-Aids and some Neosporin or something.
What do you think a Band-Aid's going to do with a harpoon in your head?
2 Band-Aids, I guess. I don't know. 1 for each side.
You know what? You probably need those little circle Band-Aids. Yeah. Just put on one on each side.
Maybe there's like some kind of voodoo folklore about finding someone with a harpoon in their head. So they had to run away before they caught the bad juju. I don't know.
But even the bus driver jumps right onto the horse.
I know. He left all of his people.
But did you see how he did that? He didn't even touch the ground. I think he just jumped from the door and he went right to the horse.
That was great. And I know we talked about this before, but Jamie, you didn't laugh at this scene when he sets up Bernie as their horse.
You know, it was just so ridiculous. Like, I mean, like he's like MacGyver. He's like Larry's like MacGyver. You know, you give him a couple things, he can figure out how to make Bernie move and do it. This thing was ridiculous, and the fact that he's holding on to the harpoon as like the reins and steering him, like he was actually trying to steer him. And Bernie runs. I didn't know Bernie could run.
Well, I guess he's kind of more like MacGruber because it all works out until Larry didn't think like, hey, there might be downhill areas. But you know what my favorite, it's one of the movie posters, and I think it's such a cool shot. I want to get it for the studio. But when he goes through the parrots, when they almost knock all the people over, and the parrot's chilling on the harpoon. That is just such a cool shot. So
Jamie's thinking, he's absorbing it, he's digesting all of this.
So
I'm just laughing just how ridiculous. I think I don't know. I can't I felt like it went on too long. That part.
I don't think it went on long enough. I could have went for a little bit longer. So I love the fact that Hummel is driving past. He's in the cop car again. They see everything that's going on. The cop turns around, follows them. And so somehow Bernie was perfectly going to Mobu, and Bernie like kicks her, right? He like runs right into her. She flies out, gets knocked out. And then we could start this final scene that just blows my mind.
Well, so like, was she dead? I don't remember. Like,
No,
I think she was knocked out.
just knocked out. Okay,
Yeah.
All right. So, and then the doctor happened to be there at the same time.
He was for some reason, he was in the car with Barry Bostwick. He was in the car with Hummel.
Because when the submarine came back, they had a doctor waiting for Hummel. Because remember, he wanted to get out of the submarine while it was submerged underwater. So they were like, "This guy's crazy. He's got like some kind of makeshift straitjacket on him."
Yeah.
When they take him out of the submarine.
And this is where his hair is starting to get a little more wild.
Right.
Okay.
And
it's wild,
it just
baby.
happens to be Claudia's father, who's the doctor, and the voodoo doctor.
Yes.
It's all
But what-
together.
Why would he go in the back seat with a criminal? Like, right? They threw him in the back seat of the cop car. So why why did the doctor go in there too?
Why did the cop put him in that position?
He was upside down. Like his feet were hanging up. Like he wasn't even sitting in a chair.
I don't know if technically he was considered a criminal or just like mentally deranged.
Okay, even so, you want to sit back there with him? Like, like I don't think.
No. If I'm not,
I guess a voodoo doctor.
So here it is. Richard's sitting there. He's about to die. Again, I thought it was midnight, but I guess not. So Mobu's knocked out. She's not able to reverse the spell. So he's sitting there. His lips are like white. He looks like he's about to die. Claudia is like begging her dad, like, that there was a way to do this to reverse it. And he is like, yeah, but in order to do that, I need the blood of a virgin. And instantaneously, Claudia and Richard are like, oh no, guess I'm shit out of luck.
Yeah.
by
And
the way, now her dad knows she's not a virgin.
that is
Oh.
that's awkward to find out that way.
Right?
Well, yes, you have to guess, but
Well,
I know.
but considering they're on an island with voodoo stuff, I'm sure they've been together before when he needed a virgin, and she couldn't volunteer then either.
Could you imagine? It's almost like asking a buddy for their urine for a drug test. Be like, hey man, can I get some of your urine? It's like, nah, man, I was at this Depeche Mode concert. And
Do you think the father's still angry at the daughter though? Like, because this could have been the second time that he asked for that. He's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't ask you because I know you're not a virgin anymore. From the first time.
I think it's a missed opportunity for some comedies. Like, he needs the blood of a virgin, and he looks to his daughter, and then she could awkwardly look away, like,
well, Gina, if they had a script, that could have been good.
yes.
If they had a script, they would have foreseen that opportunity.
But the fact, I thought maybe it would have been like Barry Bostwick, which is ridiculous, or someone just else comes over and says, hey, this is. But when Larry stood up and he like walked over like a little kid and he like stuck his finger out, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This guy that tries to get with every girl in the first movie at the party, this movie, it's really just Troy, but he's always like just oogling. He is a virgin. At what age is he?
Well, they're working at a high profile job in Manhattan, so you got to be in late 20s, early 30s. Well, are you saying there's something wrong with people being a virgin in 30s?
No, I don't think it's a little weird.
Well, it doesn't, only because it doesn't. There's like an issue with it meshing with the first movie. And fun fact, they actually had to remove 10 seconds from the first movie so that.
Because he had sex in the first movie.
Yes, he does. But like that part where Richard, he's in the room with this girl and Richard comes out. And then there's this line when that woman has sex with Bernie and Larry says something like, they always complain when I just lie there.
Oh.
But I think there was a portion of him being actually, maybe a scene of him actually being, we'll say, intimate with them.
Oh man. Yeah, I remember that line because he's like peeking through the door like The Shining. He like has the door up in a crack. He's like, I'm a little busy in here. I'm a little tied up in here, Richard. And then he like closes the door. And then he like, well, Larry's, and then he's like, Bernie's missing. Holy shit! I totally forgot about that.
But maybe he lied though. Maybe he lied in the first movie.
Well, he was actually with a girl in the room.
Larry
was in the room with a girl. I remember I think you can even see her like covering herself up maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know.
Funny.
Now I have to go back and watch that. But man, that is really funny that it happened. But yeah, the fact that he was mentioned to be that, I was like, oh my God, man.
I don't know why they didn't just make Claudia the virgin, because then she'd be more.
I guess that wouldn't be funny, I guess.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. It wouldn't be funny.
Then the dad would be like, yeah, because I lock you in a dungeon until you're 24.
See, I don't remember the first one. Richard had a girlfriend in the first one, right? Like he met the blonde?
He had an interest, yeah.
Interest. Oh, so he never got with her?
I think he did, yeah.
I think he do at the end.
Okay.
And, yeah, what happened to her? Because doesn't this all happen like right after he meets her?
I know.
The next few days with her. That's how the first one ends. He's like, no, we're going to hang out at her house.
She was already filming something else, probably. Or something. So I love the end of the movie. The shirts that Larry bought in the beginning, they're able to wear. And they're on the ship. And again, Richard, I don't know about this. I don't know. And then he reveals to him about the money. That, hey, there was actually $3 million, so they have $1 million. And he's kind of like, no. And then the crew on the ship, again, this guy sees boobs, and he's just like, all right, fine, girls, boobs, I'm in now. So the 4 girls, I don't even know. I'm not saying they can't have their boating licenses or be captains, but it just seemed like a little fitting that. And then he purposely chose those 4.
They happen to be on the island, right?
Yeah.
But how about that? Okay, so the money-wise, though, like you said, he had the money. How do you know there's $3 million in there?
I don't know. That just happened too quick. Because remember, the money flew in the air.
That's what I'm saying.
Dove on it.
And then you had all those people, so he didn't walk away with the chest. So how did he walk away with $1 million?
Yeah, I did.
And the fact that
Bottle number 7, right, Gina?
And that crew just happened to be on the island. That just happens to be 4 blondes that know how to, yeah.
I do love the fact that the 2 voodoo henchmen got turned into goats, and Bernie was walking them. That was a cool way to end it. And they obviously had it. Again, the body's going to decompose, but I don't know. I kind of wish they had I didn't watch after the end of the credits, but they really should have snuck in one of those kind of things. Like maybe that he actually finally had a funeral. And that would have been great, dude. Actually, man, they should have done this. They buried the body. Like Larry and Richard are there. They leave, and then maybe like a bunch of teens pull up. And they're playing music really loud, like drinking, and he starts coming out of the. Oh, dude, that would have been awesome. God, I should have wrote that.
See, I didn't like the ending at all.
I felt like the whole extra $1 million was a ripoff from Twins.
That and then just the fact that you just have Bernie walking around now. He's still out there walking around knowing he's still just, I don't know. Don't they all know that he's dead? Like you had multiple people. You had the doctor there. You had so many people there at the end of the movie. This dead guy right there, and now he's still alive walking around a parade. He's leading a parade.
Here's a question. Do you think he's still walking around right now?
If there's music playing, he is.
As long as there's music in the world, Bernie is walking.
But at this point now, it's been a long time. You think just like a skeleton walking around?
That's what I mean. I think that'd be really fun. That'd be a funny. I really want to write that sketch. I'm going to write that. Like kids pull up. It says Bernie Lomax. I can even do it in my backyard. And then, like the hand comes up and it's just like a bone. And then it starts doing the Bernie. All right. So that's it. That was Weekend at Bernie's 2. You guys said, I know you sent an emoji to Jamie of vomit, but it sounds like you guys had fun watching it. So Gina, would you tell people to watch this movie?
Probably, probably not. I would definitely help people to watch the first one. The second one, I don't know. I think there are just so many things I wish they had done differently, like have a script, maybe focus more on what was it, Charles and Henry? Was that their name? Because I really liked them.
I did too. They were funny.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was honestly, it was really painful for me to watch. I just kind of like when it was over, I just thought, why?
Why you wanted more?
No, why? Like, why? Why did
they
all
do
happen?
this? Jamie, what would you tell people to watch this?
If you have seen the first one, I would tell you to watch this one only to appreciate the first one better. You know, if you've never seen any Bernie's, absolutely not. Do not see this one. But if you saw the first one, I would say just watch this so you can see how bad it is, so you can appreciate the first one better. Yeah, I again, the first one was, I think the writing was, the first one had a script, first of all. You know, the second one we found out that doesn't have a script. So,
assuming it didn't.
but I think the first one, you know, the concept is very funny. It's original. It was good. You know, this one, him walking around, the voodoo thing, I just couldn't, I don't know, it bothered me.
Yeah, but he invented twerking, and he did the Bernie dance is the thing because of this movie.
That's a good point.
Sure, that's true. Yeah, okay.
That makes me change my mind a little bit.
Well, hey, so that was Weekend at Bernie's too. Gina, thank you again. Next time we'll try to find like a Terry Silver lining type of character, and you can have maybe a better watching experience.
Well, you're not into horror, right?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, but if you make me watch horror, I'll watch horror.
As I say, so it might be good to get her to, if
that
she
might
doesn't
be
watch.
More fun.
As I was saying, we might have to get a horror for you.
Oh boy.
All right. So that was Weekend at Bernie's. Thanks again, Gina.
Good night.
Good night, guys.